ಈಗ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಸರ್, ಲಿಂಕ್ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ. ಈಗ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೊಸ
ನೋಡಿ.
Okay. Namaste sir, Raju sir. Hello. Hello. Sir, namaste. Sudarshan sir.
ಸರ್ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿರಿ ಈಗ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್
ಹಲೋ
ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್.
Sir, am I audible sir?
Yeah.
Okay sir, I will start now.
Yeah, please.
Sure sir. Sorry dear participants, sorry for the delay. It is due to technical issue. Jai Shri Gurudev, respected principals of all the colleges, respected resource person, dear participants. We have completed first session, that is Introduction to Bloom's Taxonomy by Dr. Sudha, Assistant Professor, Alamin College of Education. Successfully we have completed that. Now we have second session of the day, that is Bloom's Revised Taxonomy. Resource person is Dr. T N Raju, former principal, BS College of Education, Bangalore. I welcome Dr. T N Raju sir to this session. Welcome you sir.
Thank you sir.
And also I would like to introduce sir, brief introduction.
Yeah, please give as brief as possible.
Sure sir. T N Raju sir has completed his MA in English, MAd, PGD, TE, Central University of Foreign Languages, Hyderabad, MBA, PhD. Sir has 38 years of experience. Sir has taught B.Ed, M.Ed and MBA, MA English students. He has trained over 150,000 teachers all over India at different levels, UG, PG levels. And also sir has got membership in different bodies. And sir has guided PhD students, MPhil students. And also sir has visited different countries for academic purpose and has coached IAS as well as KS students at Central College for Bangalore University for 15 years. Like this, sir has very good and very rich experience. Sir has published books also, and he has served as chairman as well as members in High School Textbooks Committee. It is very pleasure to have such a great and very rich, experienced resource person. I welcome you all. I welcome you, sir. Just I have given brief introduction because of
Yes.
the time. I can read. It will take more than 15 minutes if I want to complete that. I welcome you, sir. Now I request sir to start the presentation. Please, sir.
Jai Gurudev. Swamiji, for giving me this opportunity to share my experiences with all the learned teacher educators and students of education. At the very outset, I would like to appreciate the efforts of Dr. Shivram, the Dean and Principal of BGS B.Ed College, and also Mr. Putswamy, the coordinator of this program. Besides these teachers, there are others, also who extended their cooperation. One, Dr. Mohan Kumar, Mr. Sudarshan, Dr. Rajgopal, and many principals of several B.Ed colleges which come under Mysore University. I welcome all the members of the faculty of various B.Ed colleges and students and other participants. This is one of my favorite topics. Almost for about 3.5 decades, we've been working on Bloom's taxonomy. I've done similar research either in Bangalore or elsewhere in India, but all through we have been trying to understand and use it in our teacher education process. So Bloom's, as we all know, it is universally accepted standards of understanding, teaching, learning process at the school level, which I've seen personally, directly in some of the European countries and also in US recently, that most of the curriculum is designed based on Bloom's taxonomy. Most teachers, whether at the primary level or at the high school level or even at the college level, they talk a lot about Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's is so popular. And similarly, we are also in India. We try to understand and use it partially. I think somewhere it's my observation, not a criticism, that we have not fully understood and geared up the requirements of our school curriculum. Friends, as members of the faculty in various B.Ed colleges, you are quite familiar with your lesson planning and your second assignment, objective-based test items construction, or preparation of question papers based on blueprint. Some of these things are already familiar to you. Should I widen the screen? Am I audible to all of you? Can one of the participants?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Audible. Audible to all.
Audible, right? Yeah, I'm not able. I see on the screen only Bloom's revised taxonomy, the first slide. Okay. All right. Can I proceed? Can I proceed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can, sir.
All the participants.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I see one Mrs. Trupti logging in. I see, but I don't see others. Okay, like I'll proceed
Sir,
as
can
and
you
when
see
you.
the screen, sir, which is shared?
Yeah.
First slide completely.
Yeah, you a little before that, as a precursor to my presentation, I'll just give you the brief background of understanding the learner and the teacher in a classroom context. Then I'll come to the slide one and we'll go bullet by bullet.
Sure, sir.
Okay. So in understanding the Bloom's taxonomy, either to see, we were familiar with Arborian steps, some kind of blueprint for classroom teaching. in 5 steps. That was one of the ways of understanding teaching learning process in a classroom context. That was not sufficient, but at the same time, you can't denounce or you can't do away with it. Whatever we have evolved or designed or innovations taking place in our classroom teaching, our earlier researchers, experiences have to be taken into account. We need to acknowledge them. Okay, so as a student of education, when I came across this somewhere in early, late 70s, it was hard nuts to crack. The questions which came to my mind, why these teachers talk about understanding or comprehension or skill, application, synthesis, analysis, and all that. It was quite hard for us to digest. As we started getting into teaching, pedagogy in different colleges and different universities, then we have understood our knowledge is shallow and we need to go a little deep into our teaching learning process. Like, for example, a teacher teaches a poem in English. When a teacher is rendering a poem, when all the students are listening to, what is being taught or what is being learned by the learners? How do I understand? Maybe you would say by looking at their body language. Some are listening by showing their gestures, nodding their head, or sometimes, mouthing, or sometimes, sharing some thoughts with their neighbors or something. They are involved in the process of learning. But what exactly is going on as a mental process in learning, that can be seen only when it is manifested. Physically, when a student comes out and talks or answers your questions or doesn't answer also, sometimes no response from the students, that is also an indicative of that the students have not understood or understood everything thoroughly, not ready to respond to our questions. That means somewhere we as teacher educators, we need to go little deep into the process of teaching, learning, or curriculum transaction in our classes. If we just say, this is my lesson plan, these are my instructional objectives, this is my teaching points, I put the points on the board, I explain, and I expect my students to write down, and I also expect my students to answer my questions whenever I ask them questions, the simple questions or higher order questions. Okay, fine. At what level students understand whether the conceptual clarity is there or transfer of learning is taking place in them, or is their memory is strong enough to store it and recall it as and when it is required, or do they add to the knowledge what they have learned? Now, some of these behavioral aspects are taken for granted by most of us. But we should not be complacent, taking things for granted. We should go a little deep into. I'll share one example, one classroom example with you in one of the CBSE schools. I gave them a topic, a boy and a girl who was sitting in a corner of a restaurant, aged around 20. An open-ended topic for a simple essay writing. There were about 42 students. 40 students, first 10 minutes, they were able to write about, say, action-based. Learning process is always referred to the present. What is being done, what is being carried out, what is being learned, what is being taught. It's as a continuum, a process, a continuous process. In English, we call it progressive tense. Okay? So similarly, focus is on the present behavior, change in behaviors, not so much with the past or the future. So this is what Anderson and his friend, redefined the first stage of Bloom's taxonomy, or rather I would say Anderson and his friends' understanding of taxonomy as the first classification, remembering they have made it as an action word. So when we are teaching our lesson plans to our BA trainees, or when we are asking them to frame question papers for their second assignment, third semester, objective-based test items, preparation of blueprint, etc., we need to focus more on what is being done, what is being learned, or what is being taught. Present progressive or present continuous tense. So that is a departure. So most of us, either we switch over to the past or we use simple future when it is required, etc. Instead, you write your lesson plan in present tense, teach your lesson in present tense. If there are references to be made to the past or the future, you make it a focal point. Let the students understand that it refers to something past or something refers to future time, but the focus is always on present. So, the first classification, Anderson Taxonomy 2001, remembering, and whatever the specifications which he has listed are, I think, not sufficient. Like, for example, you recall the date, recall the name, recognize the portrait of a person, or recognize a picture of a flower, or the shape of an animal, whether it is amoeba or it is elephant or giraffe or whatever. Okay, that's at one level. Now, a person should be able to draw a distinction between, let us say, it's a domestic animal and it's a wild animal, for example. It is little beyond knowledge level or remembering level. Okay, so that means it calls for next level of understanding that this is an animal which doesn't live in a house, which lives in forest. So that is called a wild animal, a jungle animal. An animal which lives with the people is called domestic animal. So that cannot be treated under remembering. So what they have to do here is, we need to make an elaborate list of specific behaviors. I stress upon this again. Each of us as teacher educators, under remembering, based on knowledge of Bloom's, Anderson's remembering, we need to add to it, use the Zen principle. I think many of you are familiar with the Zen, Z-E-N, Zen principle or Zen philosophy. What does it mean? It means value addition, adding some new knowledge to the existing body of knowledge or phenomena is called Zen. And we need to use this expression Zen. Maybe some of you can make a note of that. And there are a lot of implications for teacher educators, to use this kind of expressions or norms for your day-to-day updation. Zen, in remembering, we need to add the list in our respective subjects, whether it is maths or it is science or it is social science, and more so in languages. There are more components under remembering. So it is not just the facts like dates, or it is not the number addition, remembering the symbols, basic operations. It is something little more. We need to make an elaborate list. Only then we will be able to guide our students. Otherwise, in our lesson plans, we see most of the time, if it is knowledge, it is recall, recognition. Recall, recognition. Umpty number of times they write in their lesson plan. Supposing you show a picture of a butterfly, be it is in biology class or in English class. You say this is. You can also say this is an insect, right? You also show ant as an insect. Now, what difference do you see between ant and butterfly? Now look at the behaviors, learner behaviors. Certainly they come out with specific things. Maybe the anatomy of butterfly. They say it has got wings, it has got antennae, it has got legs, it has got thorax, or it has got eyes and things like that, which are visible. Whereas in the case of ant, certain things are major exterior parts are visible, certain things are not so clearly visible. Then when you say remembering an ant, okay, naming it as an insect, fine, but you see the difference in insects. Under remembering level, you are not at the moment with Anderson, you will not be able to make out. You need to add to the response and say shade, for example. I want you to go back, if you have literature with you, under remembering. Memory is used to produce or retrieve definitions, facts, lists, or to recite previously learned information. This is what he says. But if you look up to some of the books which are published already as an extension of Bloom's or Anderson, you see some more behaviors added to it. But as subject teachers, you go further, maybe in a small group activity as an intellectual exercise. Think little beyond, come up with some more list of specific behavior. That would be your Zen. That extent, your student teachers will appreciate that my teacher is trying to think little more deeply under deep learning and have more clarity in our lesson planning in understanding student behavior or teacher behavior. So this holds good for all. Throughout my talk, I will be talking about the Zen. We need to, particularly language teachers, for example, you are developing the passive skills or active skills or retrieval skills or note making skills or scanning skills, reading skills, extempo skills, etc., or media transfer skills. We need to have a thorough exercise of understanding some of these specific specifications, what you are already familiar with. Otherwise, our understanding would be incomplete. So is with our learners. ನಮ್ಮ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾದಂತಹ ಪರಿಕಲ್ಪನೆಗಳ ಪರಿಚಯ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಪರಿಕಲ್ಪನೆಗಳ ಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳನ್ನ ಬಿಡಿಸಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಪರಿಕಲ್ಪನೆಗಳ ಕಲಿಕೆಯ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಯ ವರ್ತನೆಗಳು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆನಪು, ರಿಮೆಂಬರಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನೆನಪು ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಮರಣೆ. ಸ್ಮರಣೆ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ನೆನಪು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನೆನಪಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಮರಣೆ ಒಂದು ಭಾಗ, recall is one, retention is another. Retention is another, exercise is another. 4 stages of memory. Here, Anderson mentions, remembering or recalling the past. When memory is used to produce or to retrieve definition, it is called remembering. That's fine. There is clarity in that. But in the process, say, remembering can be at the recall level. Remembering can be at the retention. Remembering can be also repetition, quoting somebody's say definition or experiences or illustrations. It's at a different level. So we need to identify that. And that process of acquiring knowledge in a dynamic mode is called remembering. It refers to the dynamism, the current action of the teacher or the learner on the same page. Okay, is the departure. So that is the difference. Revised version is talking about more of performance rather than just storing of information. Storing information for one's own self. Either you store it in your brain, or you store it on your paper, or you store it in your mobile or computer or your pen drive. Just it's only storing. That is one of the abilities. But processing of that information is called remembering. So you can blow up a little. Can you start? Can you enlarge this? Show it on the screen. Okay. Good. Okay, I have my own copy here. The first one, Bloom's revised taxonomy. Is that visible to all the participants?
It's visible, sir.
Yeah, it's visible. Okay, thank you for. So, taxonomy of cognitive operators.
Somebody has unmuted. Kindly mute it.
Yeah, they can start. Maybe now we will pause a little for 2 minutes and see whether the participants are with me. They can respond to me. If there's something to ask, I want to ascertain that we are on the same page, both the speaker and the participants. Okay, anybody who would like to raise any, I'd be very happy to answer your question. So far, what I spoke about the background of Bloom's 1956 and 2001. Anybody, any doubts? Any supplements? Compliments? Okay, your silence is taken into account. Okay, on the first slide, whatever I spoke to briefly, I just touch upon those keywords there. 1950s, Benjamin came up with that expression. It was adapted to classroom teaching. Planning to disperse it a bit. Please note that whether it is Australia or Europe or in America or in Asia, everywhere it is followed. Okay, either to design our curriculum or to design our syllabus or to prepare our textbooks or to prepare for teacher preparation, writing up your lesson plans, teach them in the class, and then evaluation. All through this is being used. So these are organized thinking scales at 6 levels. Okay, in somewhere 90s, Anderson took it forward, started revising it, his own student. But already almost about 50 years elapsed in between. So we'll move on to the second slide, please. Second slide, please. Yeah, correct, you're right. The original terms used, quickly we'll browse through so that you will get the vivid picture of various concepts dealt by both Bloom's and Anderson. So the original terms and the Bloom's, we start from the bottom as the arrow indicates there. Okay, please you can move the cursor along from knowledge to evaluation. The coordinator, please move the cursor because it's not available on my system, otherwise I could have done it. I'll try, but it's not visible to you. I have it on my system. Okay. Is the coordinator present there?
Yes, sir. Trupti ma'am.
Just use the cursor, move the cursor along, upward from knowledge, upward comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Just, yeah, so that our participants also keep a tab on it. So similarly, you have the new terms, same level of classification, starting from remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluation, and creating. The first 4 levels of understanding learner behavior, they remain the same. The knowledge has been transformed into remembering. Like anything which is any knowledge which is given to the students, it is for their remembering. It is not just knowledge to store, but it is to remember, make their learning active, keep their learning, in active state. Keeping the learner mind in active state of mind, either for reception or for recall of information based on the knowledge. That's why it is called remembering, actually word. So the focus is on retrieval of information, what is stored or being stored. What is stored or being stored in the mind going to be recalled as and when it is required. So you keep it in active state or in a dynamic mode. Then it comes, he says, comprehension. We popularly we use it in English or in Kannada. ಗ್ರಹಿಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ.
ಸರಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಹಾಗೆ
Slightly
ಬಂದೆ ಮಜೆ
from understanding, ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ, ಅರಿವು, ಅರಿವಿಕೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಕಾಂಪ್ರಹೆನ್ಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆಫ್ ಗ್ರಹಿಕೆ,
ಏನ್ ಸರ್,
grasping of ideas. Okay, there is a little in terms of usage of expression, comprehension is slightly different from understanding. In all our core subjects we use understanding, whereas in languages we use comprehension generally. Do you understand this matter is a general way of saying it. Do you say, did you comprehend the passage, or the essay or the lesson properly? That is in the language context, because there are certain comprehension specifications and we use that. All right, so I'll not go further details into the dynamic aspect of analyzing, applying, etc. But see the crisscross of synthesis is taken as creating by Anderson, whereas Bloom's understood as synthesis earlier, and he placed evaluation at the top of the pyramid, whereas Anderson, pushed it to the fifth stage, evaluating, because the creating is something much more than evaluating. Sometimes what you create may not be subjected to evaluation. That is final. Nobody can talk beyond that. Say, for example, some of the great works of whether it is epics or some of the great works of our great Kannada writers, Kuvempu agbodu athwa Karantra agbodu, ಜ್ಞಾನಪೀಠ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ವಿನ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಬರೆದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲವು ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಪ್ರಕಾರಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಅಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಷ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಶಕ್ತಿ, ಚೈತನ್ಯ, ಸಾಮರ್ಥ್ಯ, ಸ್ಕಾಲರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ which cannot. Maybe it can be seen in terms of revising the evaluation to create something better, something much more. Say, for example, our chemistry teachers taught 3 states of matter, and you can examine it at the evaluation level, whether it is gaseous state or it is solid or liquid, etc. Supposing we add a component, energy, AC or DC, which category does that belong to? It's a thought-provoking question to all the teacher educators. Electricity now, no doubt it is a matter. To which category does that belong to? Is it solid? Is it liquid? Or is it gas? Obviously, it doesn't belong to any of these categories. Okay, then what is the other state of matter? This is one level. That is, I'm talking in terms of creating. It is not only now, that is called fourth matter. Already research is going on the fifth matter. Why in London recently, about a month ago, there were some articles, there were some presentations on fifth matter. Maybe teachers of physics and chemistry can try to browse and get some more information on fifth matter. If it is proved that this fifth matter is different from all other earlier matters, I'm sure that person is going to get Nobel Prize. I think all of you agree with me. Okay, friends. So these are the new terms used in revised Bloom's. It's called Anderson taxonomy. Better to use hereafter. an expression called Anderson taxonomy based on Bloom's taxonomy. So what are the changes you see there? The forms of thinking and specifications focuses more on active process of knowledge acquisition. You find some more inputs. Okay, hierarchy order of thinking. Something which is simple, easier, that is remembering, what you see there, listing, describing, retrieving, naming, finding, etc., including recalling. Please be familiar with some of these specifications when you are dealing with the content. Supposing you are teaching history, Marathas, Shivaji, social science teachers. When it comes to remembering, when you say Shivaji, the medieval kings who tried to establish a Hindu kingdom when there was so much of chaos and confusion, mostly dominated by Muslim rulers in the earlier part of 17th century. Example, 1627 to 1680. Name we recall. When you're talking about early life of Shivaji, you say his parents, his teacher, Dadaji Kundadeva, or the place where he lived, the place where he started learning, all that comes under remembering, recalling, dynamic side of it. Then, for example, when as a child, he was taught warfare, okay, so then what was his vision as a child? He got an idea that he wanted to be a leader. He wanted to show leadership to the people, to bring all people of one faith together. That can be understood at the understanding level, explaining ideas or concepts. Here, one level of interpretation is also mentioned. Actually, either to what we used to see, interpretation comes under application. But Bloom, revised Bloom's, no, he pushed it to interpretation under understanding. It's one level, I would say, level 1 of interpretation. There can be another level of interpretation, a higher order of interpretation. It is called application, applying. Okay, if someone, thinks of using drone, let us say, to conduct some classes or activities in a campus, college campus or university campus. Teaching through drone, for example. It is not just understanding, it is at the application level, applying level. That may also happen. In future, you can send a drone to the classroom, live all recorded latest information, etc., for half an hour or so as a substitute to the live teacher to conduct the classes. Instead of fixed apparatus in the classroom and conduct classes, a drone can get into the classroom. When once that is over, drone goes to another classroom or auditorium, and then it does many other things with robo or artificial intelligence. So things are not far away. It is going to happen. It's already happening in agriculture, in the field of agriculture, sowing and pesticides. All drones are extensively used, including photography, cinematography, entertainment industry. Okay, so the terms which are used in understanding or explaining ideas, interpreting or summarizing or paraphrasing, classifying and explaining. Some of these specifications hold good for core subjects, but not for language. Language, we use it under expression. Where under expression, we have oral expression, written expression. Under oral expression, we have about 20 components. Under written expression, we have 125 components. Maybe sometime later when we meet as language teachers, I'd be very happy to share with you with my research on written expression. I have explored it that there are more than 25 major components and 125 minor components under written expression, which is called, in other words, is called understanding. Here, I would say, if you ask me revised taxonomy for language teaching, I would say expressing, oral expression, and written expression. Under that, you can take it. Even creativity also comes under that. Now let's move on to applying. What are the new terms used? Okay, earlier table I've already shown you the difference between some of those basic terms mentioned. Whereas here in applying, especially in revised format, using information in another familiar situation. In other words, in psychology, we call it transfer of learning. Okay, supposing you learn to sing a song by putting a tune or rhythm to one context, you try to use it something similar or maybe slightly change in some tone or tune or beats or rhythm. So in similar situations, something like someone who knows how to ride a cycle, bicycle, can also learn to ride a monocycle, something like that, or a two-wheeler, applying in similar situations. Okay, like a student who learns addition in one context, in another context where you have to use multiplication, uses the knowledge of addition wherever it is possible to solve a problem under multiplication. That comes, media transfer, learning of transfer of learning, implementing, carrying out, using, or executing. Executing, for example, carrying out a project. Like, for example, teacher talks about reptiles in a biology class, and a student just goes out with a snake charmer stick to catch the snake. He catches the snake, puts it in a bag, and brings it to the class. I don't know how many of you can think of such a thing, but I have come across a student in a biology class. A biology teacher had explained. So in the same evening, he had gone and caught hold of a snake, kept it in a bag, and brought it to the class very carefully. Of course, it was very scaring, and executing it. And not only that, he had set up a zoo, mini zoo for reptiles. He had, by the time he completed 10th standard, he had about 40 snakes. That was in way back in 1990s, which happened in Bangalore. Very interesting case study, I love to share with you. So a student of 10th standard collecting 40 snakes and preparing the profile on each of them, their adaptation, their progeny, their food, their, the other things, which are required for an animal to survive. All that he had prepared it, and later on he went on to do his research. He did his PhD, and he's one of the authorities now on reptiles in US, in one of the universities. Okay, friends, so that is what we mean by executing. It goes on, applying. Then move on with analyzing. Generally, you understand analyzing, analysis means understanding cause and effect. If you light a sheet of paper, what happens to the paper in chemistry or in physics? You see the displacement of the matter, or matter changes from one form to another. Paper has been changed into ashes when it is burnt or being burnt. Okay. Now, why is it so? All combustion process can be explained, analyzing cause and effect. There is heat that is converted into burning up of the substances, and finally you see a different form there. All right. And similarly, someone who flies a kite. A kite flies, a hydrogen balloon flies higher up in the sky, and not a plain sheet of paper. Why? A physics teacher can raise an raise a question and try to analyze the concept of nature of the object, or rarer medium or denser medium, speed, force, acceleration, all the basic concepts of physics can be. So breaking information into parts to explore understanding and relationships, comparing, organizing, deconstructing, interrogating, or finding. These are the basic specific behaviors listed out. I think we need to think beyond. Like, for example, you are teaching a poem, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪದ್ಯ ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ, ಅದು ನಿಸರ್ಗದ ಸೊಬಗಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಸೌಂದರ್ಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ತಾಯಿಯ ಮಮತೆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಮಗುವಿನ ಮುಗ್ಧತೆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸುಂದರವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪದ್ಯ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಆ ಪದ್ಯವನ್ನು ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ. ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟು ನೀವು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗೆ ಕೆಲವು ಮಕ್ಕಳು, ಸರ್ ನಾವ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಹಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ. ಅರೆ ಈಗ ತಾನೇ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಿದೀನಿ, ಪಾಠ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಈಗಲೇ ಹಾಡಕ್ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀರ. ನನಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್ ಹಾಡಕ್ಕೆ. You try to analyze now the behavior of that. So students are gifted with that ability. They put a tune to it instantaneously and then try to come up and sing in chorus. ಇಡೀ ಕ್ಲಾಸೇ ಹಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಹಾಡನ್ನ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ವಿಸ್ಮಯ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನಮ್ಮ ತರಗತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರತಿಭೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿದಾರ. So you there under these components, what Bloom's revised taxonomy doesn't talk about those things. He would rather talk it at the creating level, topmost position. But it can also happen at the analysis level. One level of analysis there. Then let's move on to evaluation part. Evaluation, generally we understand that it is nothing but testing. Paper pencil testing. ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆ, ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಪತ್ರಿಕೆ, ಉತ್ತರ ಬರೆಯೋದು. ಅದು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟಿವ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟಿವ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಒಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ತರ ಬರೆಯೋದು, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಅಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದು ಗ್ರೇಡ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇದು ಇವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ. ಸಪೋಸಿಂಗ್ a student comes up with a question at the end of the class. ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಒಂದು ಪಾಠ, ಮಹಾಭಾರತ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ರಾಮಾಯಣದ ಒಂದು ಭಾಗನೋ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಜೀವನ ಚರಿತ್ರೆ, ವಿಶ್ವೇಶ್ವರಯ್ಯನೋ ಜೀವನ ಚರಿತ್ರೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಆ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ವಿಶ್ವೇಶ್ವರಯ್ಯನವರು ಮಾತ್ರ ಈ ಚಿಂತನೆ ಬಂತು, ನಮ್ಮಂತವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋಲ್ಲ? He asks one question, evaluatory type of question, after studying the biography of Vishweshwaraya. ತಕ್ಷಣ ನೀವು ಉತ್ತರ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Though it is no doubt it's a question of evaluation, a higher order question, wherein you need to think that yes, you do have this ability to do it. Okay, you come up with some new idea, maybe you give some clues or hints. Tomorrow you come up with maybe a paragraph, a new paragraph, or a poem, or a dialogue, or a script in language, or a new project, engineering project, if he thinks he can, generating power, or it is irrigation, or anything of that sort, similar to that of Vishweshwaraya's contribution to water management. So that could be evaluation, which gets into performance and self-actualization. Then we'll move on to creating. That's something, creating new. We call it, this is the uppermost part of the behavior. Like someone writes poetry, or someone puts a tune to the song, or someone who acts out, like Charlie Chaplin, or somebody like Amitabh Bachchan acting. Creating in the context of acting, creating in the act of painting, creating in the act of writing poetry, or creating some sums of higher order, puzzles of higher order, riddles of higher order. All that comes under creating. So new ideas, or designing, constructing, planning, producing, innovation, inventing, etc. All these things come under taxonomy. And in science, we see more often these things happening. Why not in humanities? Why not in languages? To a certain extent, in some of the streams, ICSE, CBSE, they give provision for
बंद है मुझे.
creative writing and innovative exercises. Whereas in social sciences, we do hear, but not so much. So why not? In geography, for example, students, you ask them to collect stones, different types of stones, and then ask them to prepare a profile. Whether they are sedimentary rocks or it is igneous or it is granite or black stones, then you have precious stones. So students can certainly add to their knowledge at that level of creating. Okay, friends, so these are the basic things which I try to share it with you when you are trying to understand lessons of high school, whether it is state board or CBSE or ICSE. See at what level you are trying to understand the concepts. If your understanding of concepts is different from that of our students at a different level, certainly you can add those specifications and bring it to the notice of our trainees, student teachers. Like these are the things, additional things you can think of keeping revised taxonomy in mind. And you can also see similar things, in our textbooks. Some of the textbooks, without any prejudices, I would like to say, some of the private publishers have already employed revised taxonomy in their textbooks. Okay, I've seen. I'm a part of educating teachers, pan India. So I've seen some of the textbooks and also ICT enabled facilities, for classroom teaching. So we need to get up. We need to look for some innovations in classroom teaching, certainly from private publishers. So whatever we are doing as teacher educators is not at all sufficient. We should think beyond the government, say, giving privileges or facilities, or management institutions and private publishers, plus even beyond the country. Experiments are going on elsewhere in different corners of the world. If you can lay your hands on some of those through your websites, browse them. Some of them are available in the open source. You can make use of it. So further, in the continuation of revised taxonomy, you have certain potential activities and products. We will pause here for 5 minutes. Okay, you can also relax. But I expect each one of you to come up with a simple question, at least one simple question I want to see on the screen, or give it to your coordinator. Coordinator will type it out. Let the whole group get the benefit of raising some doubts and seeking clarification on so far whatever we have talked about or deliberated upon. The 6 revised classifications, categories of Bloom's taxonomy. Can we have a break now, Mr. Sudarshan? Sudarshan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can we have a break for a few minutes?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah. Till then, you can make an announcement, but with one small announcement that each one of them should come up with a question.
Okay, sir. Can we give a 10 minutes break, sir?
Yeah, question should be given to you so that you can type it out.
Okay, sir.
Put it on the screen.
Yeah, sure, sir. I will get that one, sir.
Questions which are repeated,
Okay.
you can say so many of them. Like, for example, 10 of them have asked same question. So, need not have to write the question 10 times. One time, 10 people. Then another question, 5 people, 5 participants. One more question, only one person is asked. So such, you can shorten your, uh, feeding the data. Yeah,
Okay, sir.
and display it on the screen. Is that
Right, sure.
okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
You can also relax, and also you can also come up with some questions.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah, we are halfway through. And now we'll continue with the later part. Would be what activities can we do, or the content and concepts through which we can use these specifications. Also, there are some questions at the end. There are about 40-50 questions at the end. I'm going to deal with. Okay, we'll have a short break.
So can we have the session at 2 p.m., sir? Again, we can able to join at 2 p.m. Now it's
Yeah.
1:45.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sudarshan.
Let the screen be on. I'm a bit scared that if the screen is
Participants,
off,
So it will be like this only, sir.
yeah. Okay, but you should unmute it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Put some, sir.
Okay. Let visual be there, but you just mute it. Mute it, please. Yeah. Keep it under mute mode.
participants don't exit.
I request the participant to send your queries or the questions or any doubts in the chat box, so we can able to deliver that to that, sir.
ಸರಿ ಯಾವುದು ಅಲ್ಲ ಅವರೇ ಕೇಳಿರಲ್ಲ 15 ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ತಿರ್ಗಾ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಏನೋ ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದು ಸೆಷನ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತೆ, ಇದು ಇದನ್ನು ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆಗುತ್ತಂತಿದೆ ಇನ್ನೂ. ಇದು ಇನ್ನೂ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಒಂದು 40 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ಅಂತ. ನಾ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಹೇಳ ಬೇಡ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಂಗಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ಕಾಲ್ಗಟ್ಟೆ ಟೈಮ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿರೋದು, ಅಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ಕುಶಾಲ್ ಸರ್ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಷ್ಟು ನಿಮಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ಬಂತು. ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ಗಳಿದ್ರೆ ತೆಗೆದು ಹಾಕೋಬಿಡೋಣ ಅಂತ. ಚಾಟಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್. ಈಗ ಅದೇ ನೀವುಗಳೇ ಯಾರು ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ರು ಒಂದೊಂದಾಗಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾಯಿರಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾನು ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ. ಅವ್ರು ಸರ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಸರ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ನನಗೆ ಪರ್ಸನಲಾಗಿ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಹಾಕೋರೆ, 15 ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ 10 to 15 ಮಿನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಮತ್ತೆ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡೆ ಸರ್. ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಹಾಕೋದು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂತಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡೋಣ ಸರ್ ನಾವೇ ಒಂದೆರಡು. ಅಲ್ವಾ, ನಾವೇ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೆಟ್ಟಲ್ಲೇ ತೆಗಿರಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಬ್ಲೂಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಾನಮಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಏನಾರು ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ತೆಗೆದು ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಇದು ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಈಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ನಾವು ಹಾಕೋದ್ರು, ಈಗ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರೋ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಸರ್ ಅದನ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ.
ಈಗ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಟ್ ಪ್ಯಾಡ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಂಗಂಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ.
ಹೇಳ್ರಿ, ನಾನು ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಶೇರ್ ಇವಾಗ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ನನಗೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಗಳಿಗೆ ನೀವು ವಾಟ್ಸಪ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಪಟ್ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಕಾಪಿ ಪೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀನಿ. ವಾಟ್ಸಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ?
ತಡ್ರಿ, ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನೇ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 1, ಇಸ್ ದ ಬ್ಲೂಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಾನಮಿ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್?
ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕಳ್ಸು ಮರಯ್ಯ.
ತಡ್ರಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚಾಟ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ನಾನೇ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಇಲ್ಲ MS ಟೀಮ್ಗೆ
ಹಾಕಿ ಮತ್ತೆ. ನಂಗೆ ಏನು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾನಿಲ್ಲ ಚಾಟು. ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಚಾಟ್ ಅಂತ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ
ಇಸ್ ಬ್ಲೂಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಾನಮಿ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್ ಹಾಕಿದೀನಿ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್.
ನಂಗೆ ಯಾವುದು ಬರ್ತಾನೆ ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ.
ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಪ್? ನೆಟ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರೋ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಒಂದು 4 ತೆಗೆದು ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ರೀ.
ನನಗೆ ವಾಟ್ಸಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ಲೀಸ್
ಚಾಟಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ.
ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಚಾಟಲ್ಲಿ.
ಈಗ ಒಂದೊಂದೇ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇದಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ.
ಚಾಟಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಏನು ಬರ್ತಾನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಚಾಟ್ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ಡೌಟ್ ಇವಾಗ.
ನಿಮಗೂ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಇದೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
Sir,
ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ, ಬರ್ತಾನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ.
they have asked the questions in the chat box, sir. I think you can see.
Yeah.
First question, I will read out the question, sir. You can. Is Bloom's taxonomy still valid? That is one of the question by one of the participants.
Okay, that's a good question.
ನೋಡಿ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಗುಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ.
Okay, second question is, which is the correct order in Bloom's taxonomy? That is the question. Yes, sir. What is the highest level of thinking? Next question. What is the highest level of thinking?
Oh, that's a real good challenging question. Mention the person also who gave the question.
Sir, you can mention the name of the person also.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, just acknowledge the person who asked that question.
Next question is, what are HOTS questions?
What are
HOTS? HOTS questions.
HOTS.
Hello.
I think it must be something different.
Yes, sir. Even I am thinking, sir.
HOTS doesn't have.
HOTS.
ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಇವತ್ತು, ನಾಳೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
HOTS.
Yes, sir.
Hot question. What does it mean? What? You can just say a hot question.
Yes, sir. That can.
Burning question. Okay. That's about the nature of question.
Sudarshan sir, any other questions?
Sir, only these questions has been sent it, sir, through the
Okay,
chats.
fine. Yeah, in the due course, as they come up with some more questions, you can monitor it like this. That's good. Good effort made by you.
Okay, sir.
Uh, but I would like to know whether they want the answer right now or can I answer them at the end?
Yeah, I will check with
Yes.
that one, sir.
Yeah. Now
Sir, you
they
can
want.
answer at the end, sir. No problem. You can continue the presentation, sir.
No, I'll answer the first question. That's very relevant. If this point is not clear, the whole exercise, what we are doing today through the College Teachers Association, Mysore, and BGS will not serve the purpose if this point is not clarified. So, is Bloom still valid? Is the question. I'll answer this in a couple of minutes.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Have
Have all the participants come back? Have all the participants come back?
Yes, sir. They are on. There only, sir. Here only. There.
Okay.
But ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನನಗೂ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಇದಾಗ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ನೀವಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅದೇ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಈಗ ಸಲ್ಮಾನ್ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾರೋ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೊಂದು ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ. ಸಲ್ಮಾ ಮಂಜುನಾಥ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪವನ ಮಾನಸ 4 ಜನ ಹೆಸರು ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ 4 ಇದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲ ಲೈವ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಗುಡ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ನೂನ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ಲೀವಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೆ, ನಾನು ನಾಳೆ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಅಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಲೀವ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇವತ್ತು, ನಾಳೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮನೇಲಿ ಒಂಚೂರು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ಸರ್ ಲಾಗೌಟ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರು. ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಅವ್ರು ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬಿಸಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ, ಎಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಹ್ಞೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ 4 ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸಾಕು ಬಿಡಿ, ಅವೇ ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು ಸರ್. ಚಾಟ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ ನೋಡೋರು ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂತ? ನೀವು ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಈಸ್ ಬ್ಲೂಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಾನಮಿ ಇಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಂದು ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿ, ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಇನ್ ಬ್ಲೂಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಾನಮಿ ಪುಟ್ಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿ, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ತೃಪ್ತಿ ಕೇಳಿರೋ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅದು, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಓಟ್ಸ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಗೋಪಾಲ್ ಸರ್ ಕೇಳಿರೋದು. ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ 4 ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾನು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಬಿಡಿ, ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಹೆಸರು ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡೋಣ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಹೆಸರು ಹೇಳೋಣ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಅದು ಬ್ಲೂಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಾನಮಿ ಅದು ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಅದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಬಿಡಿ, ಅವ್ರು ಚಾಟ್ ಬಾಕ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ಗೆ ಶೇರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅವ್ರು ನೋಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್, ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದಾರೆ ಅವರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು, ನಿಮ್ದು ಈಗ ಶೇರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಇದು ಶೇರ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಅದ್ರದ್ದೇನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಶೇರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಈಗ. ವಾ ಇಲ್ಲ 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 ಅವರು ಅವ್ರದ್ರಲ್ಲೇ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಸರ್. ಹಾಂ ಹಾಂ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಲಿಂಕ್. ಹಾಂ ಸರಿ ಸರ್. ಹಲೋ ಸರ್. ಹಲೋ, ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಲಾಗ್ಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್. ಹಾಂ okay sir. Sir, you just link, click on the link sir, no need of code or anything. That's the way I have designed the link. Sir, you just close that application, sir. Mistake and everything you close. And again, you just click on the link, sir. बंदे बंदे माझे.
Mohit has mentioned cyber.
Sudarshan,
Sir, questions are displayed
Yes, sir.
on the screen.
Sudarshan, have you got it?
Sir, in the screen we have shared that questions, sir. 4 questions they are given there. The 2 students' name also we have mentioned there, sir.
Now, question number 1, given by, is it student or teacher?
It's a faculty, sir.
Faculty, yeah. You can mention the name of the faculty.
It's
One
a Putswami sir only, sir.
Student's name is mentioned, sir. First
No,
question
is
by
Bloom's taxonomy
Santosh.
still valid? No, it's by Putswami only. Okay, right.
Yes, sir.
I would say the very purpose of the deliberation for the whole day, which is planned by BGS University and Mysore University College Teachers Association, B.Ed College Teachers Association, is to confirm and reconfirm or affirm the relevance of Bloom's taxonomy. See, the problem is the textbook writers or examiners or teacher educators, they don't talk much about Bloom's taxonomy. Still, this question, persists in the minds of both the teachers, student teachers, that is B.Ed trainees and teacher educators or heads of institutions about the Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is a basic document or a basic philosophy or basic principle on which curriculum is designed or textbooks are designed. I don't say solely on it, but it contributes a lot in understanding the concepts and selection of the content and concepts and gradation of the concepts and teaching of the concepts and also evaluation. So it is very much relevant, but I would say, as a step further, I would go and say that we need to, so it is 2001 when it was done, revised. It is 2020, already 20 years gone. There is so much of knowledge explosion. Young teachers like Sudarshan or Putswami or senior teachers like Rajagopal and others, can sit together and try to elaborate on it, bring in little more clarity, value addition. Okay. So the question asked by Santosh and others, I appreciate them. Please make sure that it is very much relevant. If it is obsolete, not useful, there is no point in talking about it. There is no point in say conducting any deliberations. Question is very, very good, very relevant, useful, and you should make this point clear to our trainees also. Okay. Shall we move on to the next question? which is the correct order in Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, see, this is based on the research, original research conceived by Bloom and his friends, based on their contribution, revised, Anderson and others, just revised it. Now, generally, we are familiar with maxims of methods. All of us are familiar with maxims of methods in Education Emerging India, Education Paper 1. When you present concepts, you always present simple concepts first, then moderately difficult concepts later, more difficult or complex concepts much later stage. Similarly, our lessons which are prepared either in physics or in mathematics or in English, simple lessons which are shorter in length, easy to comprehend, easy to teach, such lessons are given in the beginning. Gradually, you see the length of the lessons and the difficulty of the concept also go on increasing at the end, last lesson. Okay, so similarly, any learning act for that matter, knowledge comes first. Like, for example, you want to teach, say, something about anatomy of a plant or hibiscus, for example, for biology teachers. You try to present the specimen, ask the students, what do you see there, what is the shape, what are the petals, what is the stalk, and what is the shape, what is the style, sigma, ovules. We are learning about structure and function of different parts. Can you further simplify it? Yes, knowledge can be given through different modes. But the point is, you're talking about the flower. You're talking about, say, geographical features of India, for example, or the climatic conditions, or what do you mean by rain in geography, or what do you mean by nitrous oxide, or what is phosphorus in chemistry. So, what is a dynamo in physics, for example? You need to give the basic knowledge, then you can think of adding on to that and go on towards applying it. When we use AC dynamo, when DC dynamo, it's at the application level. When you place a dry cell in front of the class and ask them, name it, and what is the function of it, it's all cognitive. Knowledge aspect of it has to be in the same order. Okay. So the classification has a rationale, very strong rationale. Maybe the same classification not hold good at a higher level. For example, in engineering college or in medical colleges, the concepts are always taught at a higher order. So they need not have to begin with their knowledge. They can straight away start with third level, fourth level, or the fifth level sometimes. Hierarchy would change. But school level, certainly this is convenient, this is useful, and there is a lot of psychology in, research has gone in understanding it. If someone wants to learn a music, what type of music do you want? Or you want to learn an instrument to music. You want to know which instrument, name the instrument, type of the instrument, percussion, string, pipe instrument, you name it, knowledge. You can't straight away go to ragas. Morning ragas, evening ragas, or night ragas, blend of ragas. That would be at a higher level in learning of music. So this question, what you have asked, is also very good. It is in an order depending on the psychological development of the learner, psycho-physiological development of the learner. Always, see, the way how we set our syllabus to the primary level, like primers, LKG, UKG for standard, for example. Most of it is cognitive level. We will not have much on affective level. Very little on psychodomain, psychomotor domain. Like, writing of alphabet or painting of pictures, outline, coloring the pictures, it's all cognitive. Then when you ask, are they not affective part of it? Yes, we use certain specific colors because children like them. Basic colors, primary colors, we use them. So there is affective domain, obviously. And also psychomotor domain. Very, very at a simple level, very easily comprehensible level, we do that. So at the same time, someone talks about appreciation of red in a poem in 8th standard or 10th standard, concept would be at a higher order. So gradation of learner behaviors, gradation of concepts, gradation of lessons, so is the teaching. First period or first lesson, we talk basic things, small little things, see the participation level, comprehension level, expression level, then take them to next higher order. Okay, so I think now, as of now, they are in correct order, but this is not the finality. We can still add on to the existing body of knowledge. Otherwise, we cease to exist on this earth if we don't make additions, if we don't progress. So, as I told you, three states of matter. Now we have fourth state of matter and fifth state of matter being explored. Okay, and now human beings are living in the what do you call space labs for the past 20 years. Just last week we celebrated 20th year of human beings living, in the science space labs. It is something beyond human perception. Living about 1,000 miles above the earth and creating space and conducting experiments, living there for months together. So it's a different order of thinking. Okay, that is innovation. That is exploration. That is the beauty of human existence. And we should celebrate that. So taxonomy, order, it sounds good. We can go on. Next, what is the highest level of thinking? You must listen to J. Krishnamurthy's speeches or Radha Krishnan's speeches, or sometimes Dalai Lama's speeches. You would understand what is their level of thinking. You may think they are very, very monocentric, self-centric, very idealistic. You don't find answers to those questions, so the people talk and confuse us, etc. Like, no, that's a different type of thinking, higher order of thinking. Who can think? It is illusion. It is not illusion. It is a different conscience. Supta Chetana ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದನ್ನ some people even call it abnormal. Part of abnormal psychology. ಇವರು ಏನೇನೋ ಹುಚ್ಚುಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದು ಒಂದಕ್ಕೂ ಅಸಂಬದ್ಧ, ಅಸ್ಪಷ್ಟ, ಅರ್ಥವಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದು ಹಾಗೆ ಅಂತ. Maybe we don't have the vocabulary, we don't have the capacity to operate at that level. Okay, so like when Wright brothers thought of flying high up in the sky with the help of a flying machine, most people, laughed at that. What a stupid thing. How can a person think of going in a machine in the space? Or when for the first time, about 150 years ago, Dunlop was the first one to develop a cycle. When his son started cycling, uneven surface in the village, the whole village, laughed at him. What is that nonsense you're doing? You fall and break his lips. Don't do it. It is a risky thing, like for a cycle. That was the thinking level. When Copernicus, said the Earth is revolving around the sun, what happened to him? When Galileo said Earth is revolving around the sun, he was put to death. So the order of thinking at those days and the order level of thinking now changes over the years. Man used to live in caves, naked. Now look at the way how man is now ready to moon and live there, ready to go to Mars and live there, trying to explore Jupiter. So higher order of thinking, be it is in physics, or it is in psychology, or it is in mathematics, you have higher order. Okay, why do we have all this artificial intelligence? It's a higher order of thinking, different level. So at each level you have higher order. Only we have classified the knowledge for our convenience. It is chemistry, it is biology, it is sociology, it is psychology, it is spiritual science, etc. We have bifurcated it, but somewhere all these branches of knowledge converge in one place. All worldly things end at one place, and the other worldly things, beyond worldly things, start. Like what science cannot answer, religion can answer questions. One of the things. Okay, so there is always a higher order of thinking, and people create knowledge. Printing was not available 100 years ago. Printing is available. Just 20 years ago, telecommunication was in a toddling stage. We were struggling hard with communication through wires, through cables, Marconi. No, we don't require cables at all. In future, you see different modes of technology, deep learning technology, or Internet of Things, and machine learning, and whatnot. They are already in computer science about 20 offered in engineering college. So different levels of thinking. So Manjunath, so each one of us, like what you after 10 years from now. For example, one question as a teacher, educator, what difficult to find an answer, but what you would be doing after 20 years? In 20 years, all those who cross the you hardly anybody living. That means you see a new type. Those who are in now, who are doing BA, they will all be with mothers and fathers, with 2 kids, with 1 kid, etc. 45, 40 or 40. Think of those. Life changes. Society changes. Country changes. It grows. Let us be proactive. Okay, so that is the higher level of thinking. Then, what are hard questions? The questions which puzzle you, questions which disturb you, for questions which you desperately look for answers are called hard questions. Okay. So, someone would like to be a model. How do I become a model? Suppose in subject like mega street in your own classes. How are you going to answer? Either you simply laugh at the student and say, what's wrong with you? You have come here to become a teacher, you are doing your BA and become a subject teacher, either at the school elementary level or middle level or even at the +2 level. That's what it is meant for. And you are not all supposed to ask that question or some film institute where they train you to be an actor or a model or a singer or a script writer, composing or choreography, etc. That's a different field. If you are a proactive thinker, for an odd question like that, you say, if that is interested, you start pursuing. Earlier, it was treated something obscene. Now it is one of the highly respected, paid jobs. So one can be a model. You can be a teacher to modeling. Those who want to be doing the course, and you can be a teacher with your BA. So we attend to those odd questions which draw attention or some burning question. It could be, for example, how do we resolve COVID? What should be the conditions in okay? And say, doing math, right? And from a century, what of then I would say start there the way it's you know well here in the beginning. I can map again when you
Yes, yeah.
of the kingdom or is war sultan about speaking. Okay, often plundering. There is so the back word to point out that mention those places, whether it is present or Gulbarga or
Sir, sorry. Kindly mute your voice.
keep
There is there is a disturbance.
things students needed to and that can be at the knowledge level or understanding level or at just applying level. You draw a map, locate the places, mark the boundaries, all the skill development, applying just top skill level, applying level we call it. So you can use that level. Okay, next the sixth question. Topic for teachers to implement all six levels of growth taxonomy in lesson plan. You conducted experiment either in biology or
ಯಾರ್ದು ತುಂಬಾ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
what learning
ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರು ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಿ.
आपके ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗೆ 6 ಲೆವೆಲ್ಸ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ taxonomy-ಯಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನು ಲೆಸನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀಬೇಕಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 6 ಅಂಶಗಳಿಗೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇದ್ರೆ ಲೆಸನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಬರೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾಲ್ಕೇ ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನ ಗಮನಿಸಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್, ಅಸೈನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್, ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಅಸೈನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಇದು ಓನ್ಲಿ ಅಪ್ ಟು 4 ಲೆವೆಲ್. Analysis, synthesis or creativity. The activity of what? All to 6 and keep it. That is going to be an excellent lesson. In some of our lessons, like demonstration lessons or read college teachers, though they say we cover LSR review or comprehension expression appreciation or knowledge understanding application, all topics you have to cover, but in many lessons application is not taught at all. Not taught at all. Teacher educators themselves do not do it. How can our training do it? Not do that. Teacher educators for 30 years or 40 years who give demonstration lessons without keeping application in mind. They talk about it in the classroom, but they don't give a demonstration lesson covering the topic. They don't realize the topic. So we should prepare lesson plan, mention those teaching points, concepts, learning outcomes in our lesson plan, see that they are realized in our document. Okay, I think I've answered all the 6 questions. We'll move on with the remaining part of the revise. Maybe another 30 minutes. Okay, so please display the slide, potential activities and products. That is, we started from revised blooms, slide number 1. Then you have comparison and change in terms, slide number 2. Bloom's revised taxonomy with that arrow. With the order of gradation. Third slide. We finished. Okay. Bloom's revised taxonomy. Higher order thinking. So that was the third slide. Please move on to the fourth slide. Please move on to the fourth slide. Hello? No, this is not the one. So the earlier only it was the form of bullets. Pink. Pink shade. Yeah, in the same sequence. Yeah. No, not this. Not this. No. Earlier slide which you displayed, the continuation of that. Correct, you're right. Go to the next slide. Yeah, go to the next slide. Same. These are the slides. Change. Okay. Go to the next slide. Yeah, next slide. No. I think it is mixed up. Still that pink bullet. Pink bullet, set of bullets. Pink sheets. Yeah, this is the one. Correct. You're right. Potential activities and products. Okay. You're right. It is the same. So here, potential activities and products. They have listed out certain specific behaviors. They can be even taken as learning outcomes. I'll just read it out maybe for the benefit of those who not get access to the visual. Make a list of main events of the story. Make a timeline of events. Make fact chart. Write a list of any pieces of information. What animals were in the story? Make a chart showing, or make an acrostic, or recite a poem. See, it is a semblance of various activities, whether it is in science teaching or language teaching or in humanities. You find this. For example, you make a chart on facts. For example, it can be in social science or in geography. It can be in physics or it can be in biology. Okay, so these are the learning outcomes, specifications under remembering. But this is not the final list. Please note, for example, under remembering, enumerate. Make a list is similar, synonym to enumerate. Okay. Put them in a sequence or in one order, in ascending order or in descending order, for example. Make a list in ascending order or descending order or order of growth. Like for example, you have baby, you have child, you have pre-childhood and childhood, and then pre-adolescence and adolescence and pre-youth, pre-adult and adult, posing pictures of human growth, same, arranging them in a sequence. So again, that comes under remembering. So if that is an activity given, you can add on to this. This is not a prescription, an end list. This is only a sample. Similar things which involve less effort in thinking. Okay, like you put the symbols in mathematics, for example, categorize those symbols which are used, for basic operations. Okay, you put them, say for example, geometrical figures, all three-sided figures.
Like ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಇದರ ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಾಪ್ ಹಂಗೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
Polygons, you segregate.
ಮೈಸೂರವರೆಗೂ ಹೆಂಗೋ
segregation can be remembered,
ಇರುತ್ತೆ.
which is not given here.
ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಳಗೆ ಮುಗಿದೋಗುತ್ತೆ.
All teacher educators are with me in understanding this. You can add to the list, provided you think genuinely, scientifically, proactively, you can add to the list. Then let's move on to the next slide. Understanding potential activities and products. Okay. So understanding corresponding to languages, target. ಗ್ರಹಿಕೆ ಗ್ರಹಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ವಿಧಗಳಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ಓದುವಿನ ಮೂಲಕ, ವಾಚನದ ಮೂಲಕ ಗ್ರಹಿಕೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಆಲಿಸುವಿಕೆ ಮೂಲಕ ಗ್ರಹಿಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ. ಆಗ ಕಾಂಪೊನೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಔಟ್ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕಲಿಕಾ ಪ್ರತಿಫಲಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಗುಣವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಜೋಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಏನೇನು ಅಂಶಗಳಿದೆ. ಮೊದಲನೇದು, ಯು ಕಾಲ್ ಔಟ್ ಅ ಡ್ರಾ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಟು ಶೋ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಈವೆಂಟ್. Supposing there is a college fair, a school fair. A school festival, you put up different pandals, different stalls are there, and you want to give information to the parents who are going to visit the stall. It's an event management. So you have to draw, like you have to enter here a particular place, keep your belongings, and take care of your belongings like mobiles, etc. Some instruction. You start from one end. Stall 1, you have something. Stall 2, something else. Stall 3, somewhere. 4, somewhere. Stall 50, they come somewhere. Then there is a refreshment court, etc. You guide them through a chart in an event management. So that's giving instructions and other particular event it can be, or conducting an experiment in the class can also be an event, learning event. Okay, so illustrate what you think the main idea may have been. The key points, what we write on the board in a sequential manner, which could be read, understood by the students in the class. Whatever you ಬರೀತೀರಾ ಬೋರ್ಡಿನ ಮೇಲೆ ಚಿತ್ರ ಬಿಡಿಸ್ತೀರಾ, ಲೆಕ್ಕಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನು ನೀವು ಬರೀತೀರಾ. Key ideas must be always written with a complete meaning in it, not isolated words. If you write isolated words, learning is incomplete, so is the teaching. So you have to write complete thoughts, maybe a simple statement or a simple sentence would be better than writing just one word or two words. It's incomplete, especially at the school level. Maybe at the adult level, you can think of writing just words, ask them to complete their thoughts. Make a cartoon strip showing the sequence of events. Like, for example, someone has given importance to art and architecture. Taking them to Belur Highway and showing a monument. Then asking them, to draw pictures, whatever they say. Nagaravesara style of platform which is made to build the temple could be one. What are the carvings they have? What kind of metal is used? Material is used? Design is used, etc. Number of questions related to a monument. There can be number of cartoons. Strips can be one. There could be cartoon strips of conservation of water, conservation of soil, something in ecology or environment. Next specification and understanding: write and perform a play based on a story. This is quite interesting. We call it media transfer activity. ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಸ್ಟೋರಿಯನ್ನ ಡೈಲಾಗ್ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸ್ಕೆಚ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಕೊರಿಯೋಗ್ರಫಿ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ಸಮಯ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಅಭಿನಯಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಸಿದ್ಧತೆಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಆಗ ಇದು ಬಹಳ ಉತ್ತಮವಾದಂತಹ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆ, ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಡ್ರಾಮಟೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದು ಈ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆ ಮೂಲಕ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ಲೇ, ಕನ್ವರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ದ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ into a play, into a dialogue. It can be a monologue or a dialogue or a skit. Retell the story. Retell the story in your own words. This is much more. It's a higher order of thinking, creating. And revise Bloom's creating and sixth order. Highest order level of activity is it. That is, retelling of a story. You give one sentence or the concluding part of the story, ask them to write another story. Okay, so that's a very good activity to develop written composition or written expression. Next comes, write the summary. In fact, retelling the story in your own words is a higher order than writing the summary. Summary is a lower order of activity, where converting a story into a play is a higher order of an activity or thing. Prepare a flow chart to illustrate sequence of events, like flow chart of food chain and balance, for example. You have an ant, and then you have a lizard, and then you have a snake, and then you have an eagle, like that. The chain, can be created, a chart, and the visual effect will be better in concept formation. Make a color. These activities are not graded. Please note that. These are all random thoughts. Understanding potential activities and products. Learn specifications in Kotidarai. Our specifications are not in order of difficulty. They are not in the order of hierarchy. Please note the teacher educator. These are all random thoughts. ಯಾದೃಚ್ಛಿಕವಾಗಿ ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತಹದ್ದು, ಯಾವ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ವಯಿಸುತ್ತೋ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಡುತ್ತೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. Showing the sequence of events, right and perform the repetition. In fact, make a cartoon strip. Third point, showing the sequence of events ಅಂತ ಮೂರನೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ 10ನೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಕೂಡ make a cartoon strip showing the sequence of events. I think it is a repetition. It can be corrected. Printing error. Write and perform the play based on the story. It is something similar to write, perform a play based on a story. Adhe tarade idu learning outcome. Write the summary report of the event again. Write summary report of the event. Prepare a flow chart to illustrate sequence of events. It is also repeated. Flow chart 7th point. Another point. Cut out and draw pictures to show particular event. Illustrate with what you think the main idea of story.
ಅವನು ಪಾಪ ಎಷ್ಟು ಉಂಟು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಟಿವಿ ತಂದ.
Write and perform a play based on the story.
ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಬ್ಯಾಗ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಆಫೀಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಸುಡ್ದಂಗೆ.
So understanding ಅಲ್ಲಿ, say for example,
ಕೆಳಗಡೆ
different types of crops, either in economics 10th standard economics different
ಹಂಗೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ಯಾ ಜೋಪಾನ ಗಾಡಿ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಮಹೇಶನ್ ಹತ್ರ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗು ತಿಳಿತೇನ ಅವ್ರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಯಾರು ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ ಯಾವನೋ ಗೊತ್ತು ಅಂತ
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇರುತ್ತೆ.
ಅವಾಗಿನ ಮುಖ ನೋಡೋಕೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ ಅವಾಗಿನ ಸರಿ ನಾನು ನೋಡಿದೀನಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಕೂತಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ ಹುಡುಗಿಯರಪ್ಪ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಠಕ್ಕೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾರೆ ಅವಾಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ.
ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ
ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮಂಜುನಾಥ್ ಗೊತ್ತು ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಅವಾಗ ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅದೇ ಕೇಳಿದೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಅಶೋಕ್ ಗೊತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅಶೋಕ್ ಗೊತ್ತು ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಮುಖ ನೋಡಿ ಪರಿಚಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್
From these guidelines, we have to evolve our own classifications or learning outcomes.
ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ.
Let's move on to next.
ಎಷ್ಟನೇ ತಾರೀಕು? 13ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡು. 13 ಸಂಜೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡು ಶುಕ್ರವಾರ.
ಇದನ್ನೇ ನಿಂಗೆ ಕೈಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು
Activity that does not apply. Either you call it an objective or it can be